Welcome to the Dueling then. Today we have myself, Devin LaBare, and we have Amani Jones. Say hi, Amani.
Hi.
And Austin Gholson right here next to me.
I'm dying on the floor. What's up, dudes and dudettes?
He is
Oh my.
dying. Speaking of dying, what are we going to talk about? Nothing other than the ban list. Discussions for July.
Too soon.
Yeah. So,
Yes. Yes.
currently right here we are looking at Amani's choices. Um, we're going to let him talk a little bit about each thing, and Austin and I will actually do a little bit of an input. Um, so yeah,
Wow.
where would you like to start, Amani?
Wow. Putting me on blast. Oh my god. Wow.
I mean, no, you
Fucking.
get to go first. You get to.
Okay. So basically, what the list you guys are seeing here is more so just like a um. It's less like a this is what I think like should come off or on the list, and more just like a sort of general like conversation starter. So the idea at the time of recording this, the NAWCQ is wrapping up. Looks like it'll probably be either Striker or Danger Thunder winning. I got my money on the Striker, just pulling off a massive upset. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. So with this picture, it was mostly just me. I kind of just like took into account like what the current best decks are, how and just how like to like yeah words, the current best decks and how I think Konami should approach like hitting the decks.
Mm-hmm.
Open question of like how upcoming products may affect whether or not these hits will actually happen, and if not, then like what might happen in their place.
All right. Well, let's actually start in a little bit order with what you think will be banned. We'll take a break, talk about what we think, and then we'll go on from there from
Ooh, yeah.
semi-limited, limited,
Uh,
etc.
so I'm gonna start off by talking about um just because Striker's a deck. So Striker's a deck I really like. I never got to like build it in real life. All getting reprinted. Just build it for like a month and just sell it. Um, with Striker kind of falls into the same category that two when we get there, where it's kind of just one of those things where the shelf life for the deck has just gone on for too long. Like it's literally been over a year, and it's just consistently been one of the best decks.
Yeah, I definitely
And
agree.
like some people will be like, oh well, the same thing happened with Burning Abyss, but it's like Burning Abyss never really like felt as like oppressive as Striker did over time. Like don't get me wrong, Striker is definitely like is a fair deck. So to compare it to Burning Abyss, I definitely see the logic. But at the same time, like Striker just feels like one of those decks where it's like on like the it just like it's frustrating to play against, not because it's particularly broken, I guess, but more so just because it's been out for so long. Like it's been literally over a year, and it's like most of the decks that came out around that time are just been like hit already. Like
Yeah.
so, yeah,
The fact that you
just
can
kind
still top an event like the WCQ or whatnot with
of,
getting multiple hits. I wouldn't say they're big hits, not necessarily small hits. They're hits,
yeah,
and
You
the
mean
fact
smack in
that
your search? Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely funny. That means like Striker, it doesn't like even when it was like the best deck, like during like the 200th format, it didn't feel like overly oppressive. It
hmm
honestly just comes down to the fact that the deck's just been out for so long that it's getting to the point where it just needs to do something about it if they want to ensure that new sets can come in, new decks can come in, and actually people actually start gravitating towards those sets. You know.
hmm
So the main striker cards I put up were Engage, Widow Anchor, and Multi Role. I've talked about this with a lot of people before, and I personally think that just like outright banning Multi Role would be enough to just like honestly, it would probably like kill the deck at that point.
multi roll.
Yeah, banning Multi Role I think would just straight up probably kill it. If not kill it, then put it to the point where like it's just not like a premier level deck anymore. Um, The reason being that you would still have all the consistency of the striker cards, like the recovery, because at that point you'd have no multi-roll, you'd have one Kagari. People people who don't play striker don't really understand just how oppressive multi-roll is. Like being able to sit there and just like use all these power spells and just get them all back for your opponent's turn is very
Stupid.
difficult to actually play against. Banning, and also just the fact that you can turn it can make all of your striker spells just spell speed 4, is honestly just like bullshit. So yeah, like I just think banning multi-roll would just solve every problem. It's literally just Spellbook of Judgment, but just a little more work, and that just seems very.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's weird because when looking at it at a glance, it's kind of like, will Konami either destroy the deck? Will they just make it to where it's not really a deck anymore, but more like an engine? You know, using the engages, drones, and Widowakers. So like, it's kind of weird because if they hit engage, like completely, for example, you lose consistency. The deck would still kind of be playable, would you say?
People wouldn't use
Because
it as an
of
engine as much anymore then.
right.
Well, that's the thing. People don't really use it as an engine. Like in terms of its power as an engine, not a lot of the only deck that really uses like Striker as an engine right now is like Orcus, and that's just because it's a 1-card mermaid without using. It's a 1-card combo without using your normal summon.
Right.
And but honestly, like, even after Hornet drones got put to 1, like the engine itself just didn't really. Even in like the Goki decks, like the Goki and the Warrior decks, and that's just because of the fact that there's so much like playing like the 3 engage and the 1 drones just added so much more. It required a lot more extra space, and it just added a lot more like I would say.
Yeah, but like if you think about it, with future decks, so we can't really have like a example in front of us, but there could be those decks that'll come out that will need that. Like Orcus when that came out, it definitely used that to where it's a 1-card. They used the strikers, the late stage with the trick stars. So like it could possibly come up as a reoccurring thing over time, similar to that of what Brilliant Fusion with the Gem Knights were. You know, it came up over time as an engine that'll help out certain decks.
And I definitely agree. Like, I'm not saying that like engage like if they don't ban multi-roll, then like they should hit engage. But I do think that if you want to make a hit that'll actually count, banning multi-roll, like if you want to if you want to just kill like the striker deck, then definitely banning multi-roll is the way to go. If you really want to hurt the engine, then I guess hitting engage is also good. But I do think it's kind of just one of those things where, like, do you preemptively hit engage just to preemptively hit the engine, or are you hitting engage to hurt the deck and then you're hurting the engine later?
Yeah,
and like,
yeah, I should have been more clear. I'm not saying that hitting engage would fix it. Definitely it would not, because the problem's the deck, not the engine per se. So I would think it would either be multi-roll or Widowacre, but I would think it would be multi-roll as well. But what's the status? Is it limited or is it at full at 3 right now?
What, multi-roll?
Yes.
It's at 3 right now.
So if they brought that down to 1, let's say they did that to 1 and Widowacre to 1, what would that do for the deck?
1 multi-roll, 1 Widowacre?
Yeah. Would it hurt it, but hurt it enough to where it's hard to play it competitively? Or would that just would it not affect anything at all? What would you think would happen?
That's hard to say. Roll to 1, definitely do some damage. I don't think it would kill the deck. Just because it kind of falls into that category of need to resolve one. You only just need to resolve the 1 multi-roll just to put in the work anyway.
Yeah.
If you were to put Widowacre to 1, like if you were to put multi-roll Widowacre to 1, make the deck a lot weaker.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about like definitely putting like Widowacre is the main like interaction you have during your opponent's turn. So putting it to 1 would definitely once like after you use what's his name? Like if you multi-roll it back and then use it, it's banished. You don't get it back.
Mm-hmm.
Like putting multi-roll and Widow Anchor to 1 would hurt a lot of it wouldn't really hurt the deck in terms of consistency, just being of
power.
Recovery.
Yeah.
From recovery of the deck, definitely. I think something else to keep in mind is that we do know that Engage and Widow Anchor are in the new Battles of Legend set that's coming out.
Gotcha.
It's something to take into account. So I'm not sure if they would, and also Dark Saviors was confirmed to be in the Megatons. Like Dark Saviors reprints were in there, so I'm not sure if that means they're going to be reprinting other Striker cards.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I do think if there was a time to start hitting the Striker cards, like more of the Striker cards, it would be now. Yeah. So I honestly think what might just happen is they'll put like multi-roll to 1, and then like either Striker and then either Engage or Widow Anchor to 2. Just to see like how, because that hurts the deck, but it doesn't like kill the deck. Gotcha. Just so that they can actually sell the products, and then and then on like the next ban list, that's when they'll just straight up kill the deck. Mm-hmm. Expect the deck to be alive by the time that new deck Devastator set comes out. Like I don't expect the deck to be alive past like October.
Yeah. All right. So moving along. Actually, I kind of want to like lure into. I take it the next thing would be the Salamangreat. Will that be the next?
It can be. Sure, I'm down.
Sorry, I'm looking, and you know me. I'm the Salamangreat player, so I'm looking. I'm like.
Before you talk, can I say my piece on why I think? So I'm gonna be real with you, Devin. I love you.
I'm loved.
I don't. So I recognize that Salamangreat's like a popular deck. I don't know if it's a particularly like overpowered deck. Like when you actually look at Salamangreat in this grand scheme of things, it does feel a lot more fair compared to the other like top decks right now.
I think the only reason why it would ever top is because of its consistency, recovery, and the fact that you use hand traps to use more of its disruptions. Like, its disruptions in the main deck are
half the deck is hand traps.
Yeah, pretty much.
But so here's the thing with Salamangreat, though. I think what would wind up happening, and this is why I kind of wanted to talk about Salamangreat last, but we can talk about it now.
Oh, okay.
Rip that Band-Aid off.
So the thing about Salamangreat is that I think if you it's kind of like this ripple effect, where if you hit the other decks, but you don't hit Salamangreat, the definitive best deck. And it kind of just falls into that category of, do you hit it, like... Remember the February 2018 list, where they put 4 to 1?
Which one?
The February 2018 ban list, where they banned. What they did was they banned, they put Resort to 1, but then they also banned Double Iris and Skullcraft Joker.
Yes.
That where it's like they did that as a preemptive hit to stop Pendulum Magician from being just like a definitive, just like tier 0 best deck. Mm-hmm. With these other decks, then you would have to also hit Salamangreat, because not only Salamangreat a tier 1 deck, but if you hit all the other decks to the point where they get knocked down a few pigs, then Salamangreat just suddenly becomes like a Salamangreat meta.
Yeah.
No, I don't want that.
I mean, yeah, it's basically why they hit debug and then they released the Signet.
Well, I think like for the debug hit, it was just like a light tap on the wrist, showing that like, oh yeah, it has potential, and it kind of does, but like, did Lady Debug really do that much? I'm not even joking.
I mean, you're gonna have 9 cards as your starter.
Listen, Lady Debug...
That's already a fourth of the deck. And then half of it is still hand traps, so like, I'm always gonna have a play and a response no matter what you do.
If you get your Lady Debug ashed, and you don't have combo pieces, you kind of just like, are like, waiting there, hopefully like, God strikes you dead at that point.
If anything, like, limiting Lady Debug unironically made the deck better, because the thing before is like, when you had 3 debug, if you went normal debug and I just went, okay, Ogre, like, you kind of just go, oh, okay, I lose.
Exactly. Like, it was good for consistency, but nothing else. It was just a deck filler. That's all Lady Debug was and all it ever will be. I hate to say it, but that's what it was.
Yeah,
That's why Gazelle's playing.
Oh, god. I love it. But yeah, so I think it kind of just bounced. So for me, Style Mangrate's just one of those decks where if you hit the other decks, I feel like you have to hit it.
Yeah.
But so I chose like 3 cards potentially getting hit for this one. It was Gazelle, Circle, or Wolf. With Gazelle, what the OCG did, that their banlist hasn't, that Hook Gazelle the one hasn't gone into effect yet, so I don't know what their meta looks like now with only one Gazelle. Like, I don't know what Style Mangrate's going to do now with only one Gazelle.
Mm-hmm.
But and then the same idea with Circle, where it's essentially just like hurting their consistency a little bit, and then Sunlight Wolf is that they can't like loop it with Sanctuary and Jaguar.
Yeah.
And what's cool about that is that what I really like about putting Sunlight Wolf to 1 is that you're hurting the power of the deck, consistency of the deck, because usually what Konami likes to do is that instead of when they hit a deck, what they'll usually do is that they'll go after the consistency of the deck, power of the deck. So, and the reason why I don't really like that is that when you do that, it creates sort of this like weird dynamic where the deck still has a high ceiling, can't do it like as consistently. Like a really good example would be Pendulum Editions. Putting Astrograph, when they banned Astrograph and all those other cards, it really hurt the consistency of the deck. So you had to rely more on these like sort of like Electromite turbo cards. It also, but like you still just got those hands where it's like I can make an okay board, but then you also got those hands where it's like I can make a broken board. But then they put Electromite to 1, and suddenly you're hurting the power of the deck as well. So now it's literally like I need to make like a really good board, or else like that can like be at least a turn, or else I'm just gonna lose, you know? Or it's more so just like well, now if you hit my Electromite with a hand trap, then I'm suddenly just like shit out of luck. So
No, you're hypothetically saying Sunlight Wolf to 1, correct?
yeah, that's like if Sunlight Wolf got put to 1, I feel like that would hurt the power of the deck without hurting the consistency, really.
I would actually although it won't hurt the consistency, because of the whole point of Salamangrates is the reincarnated aspect of it, where you need to use this game to go into the other thing in order to get the effects. Now, granted, I may try this on the side, like try to do it with one Sunlight Wolf, but just by playing an experience, if you were like, you can hit anything else in the deck and it'll whittle it. But Sunlight Wolf is that one card where if it's just gone, like if Gazelle and Sunlight Wolf were just gone, the deck would never be touched again.
God, no, that'd be garbage.
Same thing with like Sunlight Wolf. Like if it's at 1, it's like it's no better than 1 or none at that point, because yeah, you can go into Sunlight Wolf, but all you could do is that you can get your monster back, but you need its other name in order to get back your spells and traps, which is the big main portion of Sunlight Wolf. Adding the monster back is a nice plus, but your whole point of going into Sunlight Wolf is to get your resources from Grave that you ditched with Gazelle. Usually the monsters get themselves back, and the spells and traps is what you're aiming for. That's your target. And I just feel like if you put Sunlight Wolf to 1, it kind of just kills the deck. I can be proven wrong with this too, because maybe there might be new combos that you could do, and maybe, like you said, like you might need to use more of those like Electromite aspects where you need to go a little bit heavier onto your plays and boards. Maybe like.
We'll go on. On.
You good?
Yeah, I said go on.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said hold on.
And they also just announced maybe like a week or two ago that they're releasing a new Salamangrate Link 4.
My God, that card! I don't want to talk about
The
it.
broken. Oh, I'm gonna destroy everything and then OTK
So
you.
that when I read it, I remember when I first saw it in the anime, I was like, they're gonna nerf this card when it gets translated, and then they didn't change it at all. And I was just like, what?
Now, here's the thing though. Like I was saying with
They still have to work around that too.
well, with the Sunlight Wolf being at 1, it would hurt the deck. Maybe if you add more Salamangrates, maybe it'll require you to put more Salamangrate monsters that you wouldn't play in the deck in order to make your combos more clear, like Mirror. But without testing it in front of me, even if they just put Sunlight Wolf to 2, to where you can do the combo, but you can't recycle. And if you can't really recycle Sunlight Wolf, then the deck, they can still recycle some parts, but it's much harder. It's kind of like the multi-faker with the, recycling. So if they did that, that would kind of hurt the recycling aspect of it, which is a very, very powerful thing within Salamangrates.
Recovery is phenomenal.
But now, if we were to go back to Circle or Gazelle, that's an interesting topic because that's the consistency versus, like the power, or not the power, but its main setup.
I honestly think, I would honestly say put Gazelle to 1.
And I agree with that too. Even though
Just
I love
'cause,
the deck, it will still have its playable aspects. But then after it gets negated, for example, well, now you're then required to use what you have.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm actually okay with that. Maybe that'll make people do the less hand trap thing, so that you can actually have more resources that you could possibly use in hand to continue on.
Yeah.
I think if they did that and then the deck was still doing very well, then I feel like they would hit Circle next on the board. But then after that, if the kind of like with the same thing with the Sky Strikers, if it still does really well, another half a year from now, then Sunlight Wolf will be the main target. It's just it'll have to.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of weird of how this will turn out. But I would agree with the Gazelle going to 1.
Yeah.
I always joked around about adding in the new Coyote. I never would probably, because it's kind of like it's the Skarma of the deck. You get it later, but who the heck wants to use Gazelle later? Who? What? I mean,
I love using Chore Guy to start out. I would have wanted to use it.
For the meme, I'll take out the African deer for the trash panda. Okay, I'll use that. I'll use that searchable hand trap through Coyote. Wily Coyote.
Don't mark my trash panda.
No, you use it to search Peril for time.
God.
It's a whole different conversation.
Oh, look, we're 23 minutes in and we have jokes.
We got there, boys.
We got there. We didn't hustle fast enough, but we got there.
Got my electrolyte right here. AO bet. No. So are we going with Salamangrate?
Salad.
Because if we are, the next up is Orcus, and I got a few things to say about this.
No,
we're going to it.
No,
Austin,
I just built it
with my cards that he's borrowing.
It's the only way I could build heroes again with an actual competitive part.
Yeah, I know. Okay, but that's kind of the problem. So there's immediately right there in lies the problem, though, where it's is the deck good because of the hero cards, or is the deck good because of the Orcus cards?
Because the Orcus cards, duh. I mean, let alone Darklaw is still one of the biggest boss monsters out there right now. Just the problem is
you need its protection, and that's why you need the Orcus.
Exactly, because
or Bardige. I think that's where you might be getting to, because you and I talked about this earlier.
Bardige is gonna get smacked.
So right off, to begin with, first off, I don't think they're not gonna ban Mermaid. It's getting the Reaver and the Megatons. They're not gonna ban it. Let's be real.
I mean, it's still it's a rare, and you can just buy it for change. I don't know why they're gonna remake it anyways.
Well, probably for rarity because it's doing so well. But listen to this. Okay, you go ahead, Amani.
No, they also might give it the prismatic ready bump, but we'll talk about that later. With So I guess like Mermaid, I don't think it'll hit it. Galatea I kind of just put there. I don't know why I put it there. They're not going to hit Galatea. I honestly think like if you want to just like Orcus itself, I think it's more so just like how splashable it is. Like honestly, if like you look at what it can like, if it wasn't for the fact that tossing in like a few cards into your main deck and like a couple cards in your extra deck, like just doing like literally like you can just any deck can just do its normal combo, and then if it just has 2 monsters to spare, it can 2 more negates plus like 2 more disruptions. Like how is that fair? Like other day at locals, I went up against a guy playing Pendulum, and he literally just went, "Okay, do my Pendulum combo." Just went, "Don't do it." So I think it kind of just falls into that category of I thought I think Bardish just needs to be banned. The first time I read Bardish, I literally just looked at it and just went, "This card's gonna get banned one day." It's because the fact it just lets you do so much for so little. Like 2+ Dark Monsters literally is nothing.
Yeah.
Well, when you, like, especially when you look at the fact that most generic like Link monsters right now are dark anyway, so it's like what did you hope to gain?
I mean, the card design of it was great because it had it to where like you couldn't use like into a Link 4 with it, or even down to a Link 2. The fact that there's a side arrow, so like hell, you can once it's gone, you get it back with the stupid PK traps, and then it's right next to the side. Like it was a well-designed card, but it had it coming because it was a well-designed card.
And exactly, like Rusty Bardish is one of those cards where it's like when you first look at it, you think to yourself, I don't understand how this is broken. But then when you actually like look at the applications for it, you go, okay, I get it now. And when you really look at like how Rusty's been used since its release, it started off like there as like this kind of like card you could use in like these really cool different like Dark Warrior combo decks to get like all this extra like extenders and stuff. As time went on, more people just figured out like ways to be able to utilize its ability to search and dump cards and just like gain all this extra advantage out of it. And I kind of just think it's getting to the point where Rusty's literally just dang long. Like dang long's banned. So like,
hey, listen. It still hurts me. Okay, just looking at this card on the screen, I want that to be the last card to talk about. That or Maxine. I want those to be the last cards to talk about because I still have some hard feelings right now. My hormones are rushing through this mic to the audience, which are you guys, by the way.
I can smell the testosterone just flowing through the area right now. It's like a million Monster Energy drinks just flying through the air.
I love it.
Another quick joke. I call Bardige. I call him my Disney Vacation Club member because when I was working at Disney, I went to Japan in Epcot, and they had no other Yu-Gi-Oh products. Well, the last time I went, they finally had one product, and guess what product that was?
Legendary Hero decks.
Yes, it was, and I got it for $20 because of my discount.
It's a good box. It's a good box.
The only reason I got my Bardiche was because I picked up the Legendary Hero deck. My Dante's with the
I'll let Austin take over this chat because he's very hurt about the whole Orcust. I'll be back.
Gosh. Hi, Austin.
Well, I'm very livid.
Well, can I just finish explaining my thought process real quick?
Yeah, no problem. We're taking a break from Devin for a bit.
Oh, lovely. So the two main ones I really wanted to look at were Babel and Rusty Bardiche.
Yeah.
Because Rusty Bardiche, I feel like if you ban that, then it shuts off, like, now suddenly they don't get, like, 2 more Falkland on top of everything. They don't get, like, a pop-off of Dingirsu. And then it's also kind of like, well, once they do, like, the Galatea combo, what do they make?
It pretty much just shuts down most of the deck itself.
It shuts off, like, a huge chunk of, like, the combo. So, yeah, that's kind of my thought process there. But then with Babel was a really interesting one that I hadn't thought about, but then I, like, saw someone else, like, talking about it.
Oh, no, yeah, Babel is pretty broken right now.
I think, like, being able to, like, being able to turn all your monsters into quick effects, like, that seems very inconspicuous. Orcus monsters do, exactly. You're like...
You basically turn your whole deck into a hand trap.
Yeah, it's like, what did you just say to me? The idea with banning Babel is that it basically means that they have to... Galatea is to set, like, the climax, which is still annoying to deal with, but it's... Like, I'd rather deal with that I can just, like, bait or force through, as opposed to having to deal with, like, 2 back row, pop, ascend, and just all this extra gas. It's like, yeah. What are your thoughts, Austin?
No, yeah, I completely agree with you. Like, the fact that you can go off on your opponent's turn is just ridiculous. Like, oh, I'm gonna do Dingirsu, and then he's gonna activate Bardij's effect, so that's gonna activate Ascend and a target pop, which is just ridiculous. And then just having Fog Blades and a Crescendo face down is like that's just too much going on there.
I think it kind of just charges to another. It's the whole problem with the Orcus engine itself, where it's like you get a lot for very little, and it sucks because I really like the Orcus deck. Like, I don't want to kill the Orcus deck because I just think it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the engine itself, like the fact you can just splash all these Orcus cards and just for 2 cards get so much value out of it, that's kind of where you kind of just have to draw that line, I think.
The fact that danger increases the consistency, and we still don't have an errata for that.
Now, there is also the debate that, now it sounds far-fetched, but there is a debate that dangers could be power crept. We kind of talked about it a little bit, but before I get into that, with the Orcust, now this is my opinion, and it's another, like, quote-unquote power versus, like, Amani used the word earlier, not consistency, but, like, the splashability of the deck. So, if they took out Bardij, the deck would still be splashable. But then at that point, what would be your end game? Because usually you get to Galatea and Skeleton, but if you don't have Bardij to go into, well, you could still, have Crescendo, you can have Dingirsu, but would other decks still splash it to get that far? But if you do like a pure Orcus...
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Banning Rusty would take away the splashability of it.
Exactly.
Was what
but instead of getting to the... It looks like the OCG used Mermaid so that you couldn't go into the splashability aspect of it.
Well, the thing about... Right, but the reason why I didn't say, like, ban Mermaid was because we know it's getting reprinted. Yeah. And I don't really see Konami... Like, if it was... Like, if we were talking about, like, the September or October ban, whenever the next ban list comes out, 100% just ban Mermaid.
Yeah.
I don't see them banning Mermaid before the 10, because they already confirmed that it was in the 10. So, I don't really know. So, like, I feel like their only other options to hit the Orcus deck, the only options at that point are just leave Orcus alone, which I see them doing, or just go ahead and ban Rusty. I will say this, though. Also, that possibility they might just leave it alone and just like whatever the next like major event is after the national seat. Like, I think the next YCS Portland, which like YCS Portland, like they might not hit Orcus and just hit it after that YCS and ban Mermaid because the OCG banned Mermaid. Orcus won't be Mermaid won't be legal for Worlds. Mm-hmm. Like strategy won't be as powerful in that format. But if they want to deal with Orcus right away without hurting the Megatons, I think banning Rusty would be the right choice. So it's either ban Rusty now or ban Mermaid later. And there's not much in between.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Okay, yeah. For the sake of time, let's go on to the other elephant in the room, or not an elephant, but a bunch of fucking dragons of thunder. The Thor dragons.
They coming.
All right. What do you have for us here?
Ban Saryuja.
I mean,
Let's just go right for the balls, huh?
People didn't say limit. I just said no. Like no, just ban that card. Like I hate that card so much.
I was so glad when they didn't touch it because I had two of them and I'm like, just put it at one, and they didn't touch it at all, and I'm like, yeah,
What?
value.
And what's funny is like, when I first read that ban list, and like it didn't register in my head that they didn't limit until someone pointed it out to me, and then I was just like, "You're no what?" Like, it's just like Yu-Gi-Oh should not have Pokemon cards. That's it. That's my argument. So he's literally like a Pokemon card.
No, if it was a Pokemon card, it would add in the aspect of cannot be destroyed by card effects. Hashtag ogre my Saruja.
Oh. No, because if you're good at this game, you're gonna like chain it with like you're gonna put it on the same chain as like a Thunder Dragon or a one of the baby Chaos Dragons, so I can't ogre it anyway.
True. But then if you're really good, have Effect Veiler and just target Saruja anyway, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
No, smart. I would have Veiler the elk. You know, I'm not having this argument with you.
Where else? Where else, baby?
Anyway.
can I get a yurt?
Gonna get a year. Anyway.
Okay, so ban Saruja.
Like I think either like ban at the very least, I think Sirius needs to be limited. But I just say ban it outright. The OCG just limited Colossus, and they also limited Dragonhawk.
And I see that actually. Like, I'm not joking. When I saw that, I was like,
Oh, yeah,
that would do it.
Yeah.
Or at least
But
for
here's
now.
the thing,
For now.
So between like them and us is that we have the dangers, and I think the dangers just add like a whole extra element to the deck because it like the dangers just give you the ability to just like brute force monsters onto the field to make sure you can still do like. And when you also look at it, like Thunder Dragon over in the OCG wasn't doing nearly as well as it's doing now. Like Thunder Dragon has been like has I think more premier drops here than it ever did in the OCG.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like,
I don't know if that's just because like OCG is like a lot more like they keep like their like cards they play their cards close to their vest or something, or just because like or just because they also have Max C, which makes combo based decks a lot like harder to really play.
and I think it's just both. The fact that they can get a big smack in the face with cards like Maxi, and that's just like just trying to get by, as opposed to us where it's like, oh, we don't have Maxi to regulate us, and we have dangers just to, play with ourselves here. Which hey, I'm guilty of it. I like playing with dangers in myself. But yeah, sorry.
I do think that
Shout out to
also,
Mothman.
Oh god.
Can I get a yeet?
But yeah, so I do think maybe just limiting Colossus and Hawk just to test the waters. Limiting Roar also might do something. I'm not 100% sure, but Roar makes me scared. I don't like it.
Yeah.
As someone who played your deck, Roar is just like the nut. Like less powerful than it used to be, just because we don't have Brilliant Fusion, we don't have Gold Sark or any of that, which just really hurt. Like losing those two cards really hurt like the effectiveness of Roar.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I meant to do.
It would have been like that with like Gazelle, where like if Roar was one of and like Gazelle was one of, but you had multiple ways of getting to it. If you hold on to like your hand trap, like your Ash, basic Ash, like example, like if you were able to Ash the Roar, then you would usually be fine, and then they would have to use more of the resources to then go a different direction. But because we don't have the resources, like you said, it is a weird way to look at it. Sorry, but continue. I interrupted. I didn't mean to.
Oh, you're good.
Rambling. What do you think about the Dragonhawk? Because I see it because of its capability of special summoning from both Grave and Banish, which with its archetype is just a very, very strong aspect.
I mean, I think it kind of just falls into the same category of like. I think I'm fine. I think I don't really know how much of an impact limiting Hawk will actually have, especially in like the danger variant of the deck. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Like I know like some people have like pointed this out where it's like people already only really run Hawk as like a 1 or 2 of anyway. But that's again because we played the dangers. I don't know if limiting Hawk will have, and I think the dangers are one of those things where insane element to the Thunder deck, where it's one of those things where it's like it's just like really hammer the Thunder deck if you want to. Like you have to be a lot harder on the Thunder deck here in the TCG than you can be in the OCG.
Well, with this combo deck, with the Thunder Dragon Danger, what was it? Hold on. The Guard Dragon Thunder Danger variants is the fact that you still have, like you said, the Dangers, but also the Guard Dragons, and they both play two different parts of consistency. With the Guard Dragons, you have the consistent aspect of the combo, where okay, we got there, now we go A, B, C, D, we get our board. But then with the Dangers, it makes it consistent within like the deck number per se. So like you have your deck fillers that will get you there faster and give you more of what you need to get to those combos. And then you just have like the all out power, the brute power of Thunder Dragons with that Colossus. You know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird with like, will Konami on our end, because we have Dangers and Guard Dragons, will they touch Thunders, or will they just hit these consistency problems with Dangers just swarming everything, the Guard Dragons able to get out your these like, you know, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, or the Amorphage monsters, which I have an issue with, and I'll like to talk about later on when we get to the Guard Dragons, because
Archfiend Abyss is also
a
pretty boss monster as well.
Exactly.
So I definitely, I think kind of just falls into the category of like me. I'm more of the one I just hit them all. Like
hit them all.
Yeah, like I honestly like it. Kind of just turns like I do understand it's like it's the problem the Thunder, it's the problem the Danger, it's the problem the Guard Dragons. I honestly think all three of them are the problem. Like I don't see why. Like I think Colossus should just be limited. Honestly, at this point.
Yeah, because it's a good boss monster, but like it's more of like the other monsters that'll help it out. You know, it's kind of like the Dark Law, for example. It's a great card. Don't get me wrong.
It's just,
but
it's the problem of protecting itself. It doesn't, because the only way with the hero deck itself was playing. Oh, I'm gonna protect with Honest Neos. I'm gonna give it a 2,500 boost. But after that, you're like, oh, well, I gotta play some PK cards like Fogblade on. That's the only way I'm gonna be able to protect it.
Yeah, but that's like the difference between the two though, where it's like with Dark Law, it doesn't like you rely so heavily on other cards to protect it, whereas Thunder was like Colossus, like it has its own inherent like
protection
itself.
Oh, I'm gonna banish. Oh, he's gonna stay for a bit longer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and like the Thunder Dragon Advantage is just gonna plus you anyway. So it's like, so what did I accomplish?
Protection. Oh, game 2. Okay.
Okay.
Now here's another thing. I think the other meta helps regulate the Thunder decks, because what do you have in Salamangreats? You have Stalio that has a shuffle back to hand effect, and then in Orcus you have Dengirsu, which is a non-targetable send to grave effect. Exactly, and those can be over.
But the problem that Colossus poses is like one, like if you go up against Colossus as it is, like you're not going up against just Colossus. Like I'm not like when I sit down across from a Thunder Dragon player, the last thing on my mind is Colossus. The first thing on my mind is like the hot red, the number 38, the fact that you just hit 2 cards out of my hand, the Heretic Seal. Like I'm not like on those cards at the moment. So it's one of those things where, but it still kind of just falls into that category of Colossus itself is still just such an imposing boss monster. even yes, I still have all those outs to it, but I have to play through this board and still and then still hope that I can get to that out to be able to get to it.
Yep.
Well, if
I'm still dealing with the fact that I have to play against a monster that just cuts me off from half of my deck.
Yeah, it cuts your opponent half off. You can't just simply run over it or destroy by card effect, because it will just make your opponent generate more card advantage. Usually the common way is by banishing your roar that you somehow got back to grave, and then getting another monster on board, and it's like, oh look,
it's just a big droll.
Well, yes, it's a big droll, but also just trying to get rid of it is an issue.
Well, if you if they just auto straight ban Colossus, that's the whole deck. That's the whole point. Oh, I'm gonna play Colossus. I'm gonna sit on that, and then the rest of a big board. The problem is, you gotta hit the Guard Dragon with that deck, because then that breaks most of the rest of the board for them. So they gotta go back to the old-fashioned way of playing them. Is just pure Thunder Dragons, which would be I'm gonna sit on the board of the Cloud Dude, Colossus, and Titan.
Well, if you had big brain, you would put on 2 Colossus and Titan, but that's just me.
That board was still pretty good. That was the correct board. But that board's still kind of scary.
It is. Well, if you played the Wolf, the Thunder Wolf, that's what I like to do when I was cheeky. When that deck first came out, sending that, recovering that, I was like, Regeki who? Regeki you.
That's why that card is no longer played.
I'm just gonna play Prank Kids at that point.
Okay.
Don't you dare say that card.
Really quick. With Prank Kids, I don't care what anyone else calls them. I call them Sour Patch Kids. That's my Sour Patch Kids deck right there.
Back to the topic on hand.
Gone.
The Thunder Dragon cards enough. In regards to the bullshit stuff, I think I want to see LP banned so badly.
It's so weird because I want to see I know that if it's banned, it will help a lot of things out. But I don't want to see it banned because I just like that aspect of the deck. You're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. You're definitely right.
The Guard Dragons. I think LP's. I think LP and Agripane are both really cool cards. They give you so much for so little. It feels like.
Yeah.
But
the power to dig through your deck for anything.
Yeah, and people kind of just well, I mean, yeah, you can special a dragon, and it's yeah, but have you seen some of the dragons you can summon off of this? It's fucking Eclipse Wyvern, Destrudo, hello, Red MD, come on,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying with the Amorphage monsters, being able to cut out of your opponent's extra deck. You know.
God.
Well, then you're also cutting into Pendulum Guard Dragons, which is a big
the
part of the meta right now. It's a nice side rogue deck.
It's one of the better tier 2 decks, but at that point it's just collateral damage. At that point you just have to default and be able to put up 3 negates.
I mean, Vortex, Seal, and then whatever the hell else you want.
Oh, I love that card so much.
I'm just gonna win.
I love Celestial Sphere so much. I'm to that game against Austin where it's he hand trapped me 3 times and I still finished on a board of Spheres Vortex. He's just what?
Not to mention, I'm gonna sit on my vanities and then you're gonna fucking just play purple and just go off after that. I am still livid about that.
But anyway, yeah, I think he should be banned. I put the Wyvern Buster and the Collapse Serpent there because
those are other good possible hits.
Those are good possible hits, the Chaos Dragon part of the deck. The two baby Chaos Dragons, again, those are just cards that give you a lot for very little.
Yeah.
Thunder.
Now, what about the 11 in there?
Such an insane card. I don't think people realize how insane this card actually is.
Well, it's so funny because I remember looking at this card, and this is around a time where it was less than $10 when I was in Florida. I was looking at, and you're saying Austin, I was looking at it, and
I know.
I'm this is a really good card, and I'm I don't know why I think it'll be good, but I want it. So then I started getting them.
Red I knew it was gonna be good. I was like,
here I am now with. Well,
okay,
I had two of them.
One.
I had two of them.
Now she
Gave one
lied.
to Austin after a few of his services.
you
Not
idiot.
in the sheets.
We all know what that means.
I had a playset at one point. As soon as the price like spiked, I cashed in so hard on those.
I still got my one. I have to try to get rid of that.
I will buy that off of you now.
Okay, look at that. I got rid of two. I got services and
I
money.
don't think it's gonna get hit.
That's
my thing.
I don't know if Levianeer will be banned. It's one of those cards where though that if they didn't want to like ban the guard dragons, I could see it getting hit. I don't know.
I can see the guard dragons getting hit more than Levianeer. Because the guard dragons is more splashable in a lot more decks than Levianeer.
Now, here's a question that I have for both of you guys.
Levianeer just does so much by itself. Like,
well, that's the question I want to ask you both. I'll let you speak first, Amani, then Austin. But with Levianeer, what makes it powerful? The aspect that with the banishing, you can then get more, like, kind of like similar to that with Roar. If you banish Roar, you get, like, card advantage or you get board presence. Is it that makes it powerful? Is it the fact that you can take a card out of your opponent's hand to turn 1 or just pop them stuff turn 2? Is it the versatility of the card? Or is it the fact that it's another level 8 with all of that allows you to go into other monsters? Like, is it just like a combination of all three of these things? Or what's the big thing that made this price jump go?
it's exactly what it's the combination of everything. It's just like you said. The fact it pairs so well with like Eclipse Wyvern and the Chaos Dragon and like the baby Chaos Dragons. It really does kind of just come down to the fact that Levianeer flexible card. The fact that they gave it 3 very powerful effects just give it so much utility across the board. And just like you said, the fact that it's a level 8, it's very easy to get to. Again, it's kind of just one of those cards where you can, like, with very little effort, you can get a lot out of it. And I think just cards like that are very powerful. If they just, like, hit the Guard Dragon, like, if they just ban LP, then hitting Levianeer might not really be necessary.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Because then it's all by chance at that point.
It's really... Because Guard Dragons are playing a really big part. Because it's so easy to just splash it into something. Especially with, like, just... Oh, I'm going to... Foolish, my Dark Worm or just Dragon Shrine with something.
Okay. Cat.
Okay, Precious, you're gonna back away from
my cat was knocking over my mic.
It's just so easy, like just send that, and then just go off for the rest of your turn after that. Oh, I'm gonna normal summon, go off my plays, and then do my Guard Dragon plays after that as well.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry for the sake of time. Real quick, I think all three of us can be on agreement on this, unless you have a little thing to say. I don't want to say anything else about it. But real quick, Mystic Mine and the trap that gets it out. Straight out banned. Yay, nay.
Ban Mystic Mine.
Okay.
No, I don't think...
What do you mean no?
Wait, Draco, shut up. Your argument's invalid.
No. I think they should hit Metaverse, but not Mystic Mine. Because I like that Metaverse is able to, like, you can just throw that on your side, no matter what you do. Because it bounces out, like, oh, I'm just going to just throw it in anything.
So, the problem though with... So, I think that's kind of the logic they used in the OCG, because what they did was they put Metaverse to 1 and Mine to 2. But the problem though is that, like, you can still just, like, go second and, like, just drop Mine against your opponent and just play for no reason. Like, that just still seems very...
It's powerful.
But it's also not a game ender. It's a stall.
It's basically... If I'm not main decking, like... a back row hate, like if I'm not main decking any back row hate, it's essentially a game ender. Like,
and like it's only if you go turn 1 with it and place it down, then it's a stall. But if you go turn 2 against it, you just shut down your opponent's entire board, practically. And then you're just able to do everything and anything as long as you don't get equal to the amount of numbers they have.
The problem with Mine is really just the fact that, like, going second, it's just like you'll just win in most situations. And then if you're going first, then, like, you're using it, like, in combination with other cards like Metaverse or, like, Demise of the Land to be able to play it on your opponent's turn anyway, so it didn't really matter. It's, like, accomplished at that point.
Yeah. Alright. But yeah, so Trying to think. We did the Chaos Dragons. We did the Orcas, Salamangreat, Thunder Dragons.
I
Ooh.
like to see that you brought out a fan favorite right here. Fairy Tale Snow. I mean,
we're,
No, hell, we didn't talk about the dangers. We should talk about those first.
okay. Let's talk about the
we
issues.
skipped right over that,
We'll
though.
try to do the issues, and then we'll get to. I guess at that point we'll be getting to the points of the returning aspects.
Oh, yeah.
Or having multiple of. Okay,
yeah.
so.
Oh yeah, this is hot. It's hot.
Yeah.
Cool. So,
And I'll let you decide about the order, but I just request that Maxi or Danglong are the last ones.
yeah.
Because,
So
boy, I have something.
I know you mentioned something about dangers being power creeps. Is what?
Yeah, so I forget. No, I can't take credit. There was a YouTuber who was talking about the aspects of dangers being powercraft, and that might be the changing of the R-type attributes per se, because they're very heavily onto dark monsters, and everything that's been pretty much relevant is dark. Granted, most of everything in Yu-Gi-Oh has been light or dark.
Ever since Dark Warriors became a thing, that's been a big part of it throughout the whole.
But if if Konami was able to change it to where the archetypes change to where darks aren't as relevant, and let's say we had Maxi back where special summoning is then restricted again.
I thought you were waiting for Maxi.
I know I'm just dabbing it a little bit.
Salt in there.
No, not salt, just a little dab of it. But anyway, you have special summon restrictions. Dark monsters aren't being used. We have that new, is it Cross Out? The new card where if you have
quick play?
Yeah.
That card's hot.
I mean, that's only for
I don't know
for
that
dangers
yet.
that would be restricted with for mirror matches. That's restricted when we're talking about dangers. With hand traps, well, that'd be great. I mean, with Call the Haunted, there should be no reason why Maxi shouldn't come back even to at least one, in my opinion. But we'll get to that later. But I feel like there is a chance that the dangers could be powercraft. Now, I feel like they should be limited to an extent, especially the big boys, the big three here, because of having too many of them can be too much of an issue. But, that being said, what do you think, Amani?
I love you, but I think
Dab on that.
Wait, can you say that again? I think it cut out.
but I think you're wrong.
I also concur.
I think it'll act. So you say that over time they'll get power crap. I honestly think the opposite. I think as time goes on they'll actually get better. The thing about the dangers,
I said there's a possibility. I didn't say I was dieharding saying that.
Yeah.
I'm saying that there's a possibility, and those were the roots of how it would happen.
Yeah. So I guess my main thing about the dangers though, what makes them so, I think the reason why they'll be reverse power crap, they'll only get better, is just because of the fact that as we get more and more moving on into the future, and we are seeing sort of this, especially on Link monsters and everything, I think the dangers will just be getting better because they do essentially give you free advantage, especially when you pair them with different decks that play out of their graveyard. Mm-hmm. We're still decks like Orcas, in Thunder, Burning Abyss, hell, even Spiral, is that because you can get, if you don't miss on them, if your opponent hits a card that isn't them, and they end up discarding a card that does something while it's in the graveyard anyway, then you just get, you're essentially making up for your loss.
You plus no matter what you do.
And so I do really think it kind of just comes down to the fact that as time moves on, we're going to see more decks that they can utilize the fact that the danger is just, playing a danger engine can give you so much value for very little, I guess. Just 9 to 12 danger monsters into your deck. You're essentially just giving yourself 12 more copies of Upstart Goblin at that point, as in the form of monsters that do all this extra work for you. Yeah. Which is why I think as time goes on, the dangers will only get better. I feel if there was a time to hit any of them, now would be a good time.
Mm-hmm. But most of them all have the same type of effect where I'm gonna discard and then I kind of plus off of a draw. But the fact that none of them are a hard once per turn. Oh, I'm gonna jackalope. I'm gonna draw. Oh, I'm gonna jackalope. I'm gonna draw and jackalope. And same with like Tsuchinoko and Nessie, as you've pointed out. So like they'd have to end up hitting every single danger card that they have, which
Yeah.
I doubt they'd actually
Which
really
you
do
feel-
that.
I mean, they hit most of the dragon rulers, and they didn't have a problem with that.
There's only, let's count. There's 4 dragon rulers, and how many danger cards are there?
Yeah. Well, first off, I would not say the dangers are anywhere near the dragon ruler. We're not talking about the dragon rulers. I refuse to talk about
That's an
those
hour-long
novels.
video on its own.
For next time, ladies and gents.
I'll live debate you on the dragon rulers, Devin. Bet.
God, I'm gonna be mad now. Now we have to do a video, and I'm upset because I didn't want to. That's too
We
much
need more
effort.
content.
That's too much effort.
How about that content?
It's not there yet.
So I do think Jackalope, Nessie, and like out of the 3, I think Jackalope and Nessie definitely should be put to 1. Tsuchinoko I'm always torn on, but
Well, the fact that Tsuchinoko, I'm gonna discard, I'm gonna summon you no matter what.
yeah,
That's an automatic. Oh, I'm gonna get a free Link monster off of this no matter what I do.
Well, yeah,
yeah,
but with
Tsuchinoko
Nessie
is definitely the best one of the 3 because it's like, oh, I missed it, so you get to special and draw a card. Oh, I hit it, cool, I can special summon anyway. Oh.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because like with the Orcust, in my opinion, the stronger one, sadly, would have to be Nessie. And the reason why I say that is because of the fact that with the entire combo of Orcust, you have to discard. You at least have to discard 1 card. And with Nessie, oh, it's discarded. Well, I can add a card. Well, then you didn't deck. You thinned your deck. You used a resource. You know, so like that alone is great. Let alone.
But my counter argument to that though is that like if I do the combo and discard like Jackalope or Tsuchinoko anyway, like I essentially like I do see your point because I was like I discard Nessie and I get back a monster that I can now use later on in my combo. But then it's like, well, I essentially get the same thing with Jackalope and Tsuchinoko too, though. So it's like I don't think out of the 3, any one of them's better for Orcust. I think all 3 of them serve the same purpose in that deck.
Because those are like the staples in the Orcust right now.
Well, I guess for me the thing was that like if I had like if Jackalope or Tsuchinoko was like hit, discarded or anyway, and then you got the special summon, well then at that point you either would have to use it within the combo to like either get your Longyearsu, or you just have a floating danger monster there, which isn't bad. It isn't bad. But then with Nessie, you have the option. After searching, you have the option to either extend and go further, and possibly get another draw out of it, or you can save it for later. And that's why I liked it with the Orcust with Nessie, is that you have that, you have the option. You have options.
And I agree with that, but I just like I think like in the grand scheme of things, like all 3 of them essentially accomplish the same thing.
They're all just copies of each other, just slightly twisted.
Slightly different.
Yeah. Oh yeah, all 3 of them are broken. I was just saying why I like the Nessie with the Orcust. That's all.
Yeah. Honestly, I would honestly say, like, I don't know.
I say they just errata them. I don't.
Well, they'll probably ban them first and then errata them later on. That's kind of usually. I mean, I don't think there's anything that has been errated.
Yeah. Source. Performa Pal Sorceress.
Oh, true.
He's been errated.
Well, they kind of.
Which made him even better in the end.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very tricky with how Konami's going to deal with the dangers.
Because if they're going to ban them, they'd have to ban all 3 together because they're still the same exact card together.
Yeah,
Yeah, and let alone they're still a TCG exclusive.
We can all definitely agree, though, that something has to be done with them.
Yeah.
Let's build
something
a wall.
has to be done because you can't just leave them alone.
We're gonna build
We can't
a
do
wall.
that again. You know.
I honestly just say like limit all 3 of them.
Okay.
Understandable.
My final thought on it.
I'm gonna play 3 Mothman then.
So I did do another skim of this list here, and there's one card that is kind of a little bit upsetting me right now. I don't even like looking at it.
Book of Moon?
No, I'm looking at the other quick spell here, the Phantomite.
Oh yeah. So hear me out.
Oh, I'm listening.
Okay.
But I might veto it. I don't know.
Okay.
There's a method to the math. It's honestly, literally. if you ban Rusty Bardiche, I think this card could just come back. Like honestly,
That's what I've tried to talk to you about before. Like
if you ban, especially with Summon Sword ban now,
Bardiche has always been the problem before. Oh, I can either add the quick play, or I can just add the fog blades or the shield to extend my plays no matter what I do.
Well, no. I think at the time that they banned the rank up magic, that was the correct hit.
Yeah, it was definitely the correct hit.
Smack them thoughts, yo.
But, yeah.
But here's the thing, and the reason why I thought that was the correct hit was because of the fact that before when people were just like, oh, why not just ban Rusty British? Like, well, that doesn't really solve the problem because I can still just I could just do Summon Sword shenanigans to get boots out my deck anyway and still just get to the rank up magic.
Exactly.
But we still ban Summon Sword.
Yeah, but Summon Sword was also banned, so it was kind of just oh, wait.
Exactly.
So I think if Rusty's banned, as long as Summon Sword also stays banned, the rank up magic could come back.
And I actually do agree with that. I actually do. And you were definitely right. That was the best hit at that moment because Summon Sorceress was still a thing. But now that Summon Sorceress won't be a thing, and that if Bardiche did get hit, like you said, Amani, that would be the correct.
What would it do though if it came back? Like Bardiche gets hit and then Lana
wouldn't do anything.
Exactly. Like what's the point then?
But earlier you had Summon Sorcerers, so you could still get it out.
Yeah, so Austin, I get it. So Austin, what we were saying is at the time that people were debating between banning Rusty and rank up magic, the logic with banning rank up magic over Rusty was because you could still do things. You could use cards to just make the boots anyway, and still get to the combo. However, what they want, because they banned the rank up magic and summon sword on the same list, it kind of created this weird paradox of they'll just leave Rusty alone, okay, but now it's kind of getting to the point where maybe Rusty should be banned. Now is a good time to probably bring if they do ban Rusty Bardiche, now could bring back the rank up magic, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you. I get what you're saying now. Okay.
We weren't I was never just straight up saying they should have just banned Rusty instead in the first place. It was more so just now that at the current time, if they ban Rusty Bardiche, then rank up magic could theoretically just come back.
Now that we're here so far away, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Just
now that we're here,
just like the Olympics.
Yeah. All right. What's the next thing on the list?
Snow. Snow. Because I feel this too.
So this one's easy. It's literally I honestly think Snow got banned because of the Thunder Dragons. Because you could literally banish 7 cards and get insane value out of banishing a bunch of Thunder Dragons. But I think depending on how Snow is very much they hit the if they straight up just kill the deck, come back. Especially when you look at the OCG where they have 3 Snow, I think.
Do they?
But they have more than it's not banned in the OCG. I know that much.
No,
but
Snow's still roaming around there.
Legal in the OCG. But the reason why it's so much safer in the OCG compared to the TCG is that in the OCG Thunder just isn't as relevant. Mm-hmm. And it's also interesting, and I just think that if they were to kill the Thunder deck, then Snow would be safe to come back to at least 1 just to test the waters. Because you're only probably going to play 1 anyway.
But then BA would come back then.
Well,
from being a rogue deck.
Well, here's the thing. VA, even though it was doing well with the Snow and the Orbitlander,
Hydrolander.
Yeah, sorry. It's a nice aspect to the deck, and it does make it strong, but it won't make it meta. It'll still kind of be there.
Well, we have. Well, before
real
that,
quick.
Now we have Cherubini though to finish off most of our plays.
No.
Too.
So here's the thing, and here's my little rant on BA. When people were saying, "Oh, Cherubini is going to break BA," no, it was never going to break BA.
No.
Well, my whole thing about it is BA is one of those decks where and people found a way to innovate it. definitely like it's one of those decks that it's definitely very powerful, but it's also one of those decks where like it's never really like I don't think back to like where it was before Snow got banned would really make it that much like it wouldn't make it like the best deck all like it wouldn't make it a tier 1 deck.
Exactly.
Like,
I'm not saying like make it tier 1, but it's like it's gonna bring it back into the game itself.
yeah, but like it won't be any higher than like it'll be like a rogue deck. Like it'll be like it's that deck that like it'll be a deck that like will occasionally like top a YCS, but like it'll never like win the YCS. Like, and even then, like it's kind of just one of those things where it's like the reason why BA started doing so well, like all of a sudden, was because you had like players like Tom Rose and Josh Oosters who were just like sitting there and they were just like theory crafting like all this other stuff you could do with the deck. And figuring out ways to like innovate it and break it and stuff, and that's kind of what brought BA back into like the public sphere, and that's how you also wound up getting deck builders like Dinka Bui, who was able to kind of like take what they were doing and really just like really like push what it was capable of. So I decks where it's like when you have players of like that caliber like messing with it and like working on it, that's how you will see it doing as well as it was doing before Snow got banned. Yeah.
Okay.
I genuinely don't think that like Snow like I don't think like Snow coming back to like 1 would suddenly like make BA like
top tier.
No, I don't see her as meta breaking. I'm just saying like, oh, it's gonna
it's definitely one of those decks where it's like, and I think it just kind of turns into one of those things where it's like BA is one of those decks that like the best players just won't play anyway. Because like it just won't be the best deck. Like the best players play the best decks.
Yeah.
So that's where I am now. Okay.
Welcome to the club.
I play Pendulum and like I'm out here bodying y'all. So
not and on this channel. And how many games did you win in a row with that Pendulum deck?
9.
In a row?
If you haven't seen the video,
Undefeated?
Go see Amani's undefeated pendulum deck. Which, speaking of pendulums, is that Double Iris?
No, that list was so bad. Don't look at it.
Well, yeah, but we need the views. And listen, y'all watching this know we need the views. So do us a favor. If you like to help, view.
Smash that like button.
And subscribe.
Anyway.
How long? We're an hour and 12 minutes into the video and we finally did the subscribe like.
Fine. We finally broke Amani.
So?
Moving on.
I'm finally sober right now.
No, we talked about the rank up magic. You said you want to save Maxi for later. Luster Pendulum, you can just come back to 3. I didn't think it's time.
Yeah. While we're talking about Pendulum, can we talk about the Double Iris? Because, like, here's the thing, like, when Double Iris first came out, that's when I was very hype onto the Pendulums.
Yeah,
like, I was trying to make the deck. I wasn't able to afford Electromite, so then I was never really able to play the deck. So
I think with, the thing about Double Iris is that when the card first came out, it was very powerful because of, like, what it could do with, like, giving access to the Pendulum Graphs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, especially when Double Iris should have been legal when there was like 3 Astrograph, 3 Electromite, and all that. But I do think that where Pendulum is now, like maybe just putting Double Iris to 1. Like my idea was like maybe just putting Double Iris to 1 just to like test the waters. Mm-hmm. It's like, are you really like
Stick your toes
right now? Like there's some Pendulum builds playing like graphs. Like my build plays it because it's just value. But like I don't really know but like with more people kind of like pushing more towards just like turboing out Electromite and everything, it's like I don't really know how much you'll get out of like having Double Iris with the Pendulum Graphs. So
yeah,
so I haven't seen Pendulum Graphs in really many decks at all anymore.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because Double Iris got banned.
I would definitely agree with like bringing it back to 1 to test the waters. I hope that at least at 1 it'll be capable because I know
it's also where real quick, sorry to cut you off, but
you good.
Also one of the things where we're starting to see more people like shy away from like the more pendulum magician heavy builds, which is part of the reason why you're seeing a decline in like so like you're starting like so like in like the decks like if you're playing like a more pure pendulum magician build, then double iris will be very powerful. But with more people shying away from those builds, like I don't really see how double iris would like be game breaking, you know?
Yeah, because either you're doing pure with double iris or you're doing the alternatives, most likely without,
I like Zephyr
or
and Nick.
cutting it shorter. Yeah. Austin's kind of being a dick right now, looking up the prices for pendulum stuff. Listen, those prices don't mean anything, dude. I tell you what, man, that deck is.
The dude's aces, man. I
good.
I
It's
have
good.
pendulums right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not complete, but I have pendulums.
I have a Damien.
Screw Nick. Anyway,
Dude, Endymion is one of the top boss monsters. The only problem is
we're not having.
I need spell counters on him, and I only play 4 cards that really do spell counters for him.
Anyway,
That's a you issue.
right, Book of Moon. I think it come back to 3 links. Like this card could have came back to 3 like 2 years
ago. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like as soon as they announced Decode Talker, I was like, cool. So 3 Book of Moon, right? Yeah. Okay.
No, dude, just play Swords of Concealing Light.
Okay, but all I'm saying is that, like, imagine having 3 Book of Moon during Zoo format. Just like.
Okay, no, we're not going to that topic. That was a thought, and that's all it ever will be, and that's it. It's a thought. Amani had a thought, guys. Yeah. Move it.
If she breathes, she a thought.
Moving on. The next thing's on the list. Oh boy.
So, Amani, do you want to tell the our fans
what
this deck means to you?
I think this is more of a bias right here.
Okay, no. There's genuinely thought process behind this. So, believe it or not. So this was more so just because of the fact that 3 drone and now they're gonna have 2 quick fix. I think there's part of this is biased, but also part of it is just like looking at it from like a rational, logical point of view. Like I'm not really sure if putting drone to 3 and quick fix to 2 will like Spiral's like the best deck again. That they'll still have a lot of the same weaknesses where like I think it'll give them a buff because right now the problem with the Spiral monsters is just like they don't have like the consistency to be able to get to like the monsters they need to like make their combos. I think putting these cards up would help, but the problem is that without Resort, like if you keep Resort at 1, like I think the deck will stay kind of where it is right now, where it just relies too heavily on being able to. Like you kind of have to be able to just like hard open like your your combo with Super Agent and like. And I think like putting drone to 3 at least would definitely help a lot with that, but I don't think it would be enough to make it like a really good deck. Quick fix to 2, I think I think quick fix is still very powerful. I like it where it is at 1, but it's more so just like a curiosity of like what would happen if we went the OCG route where we put quick fix to 2, drone to 3, but we kept Resort at 1. That being said, I will acknowledge the fact that like the dangers do kind of add another element to the Spiral deck where the dangers kind of fixed a lot of those problems. So I'm not really sure if the dangers stay at like where they are. I'm not sure if being able to like if putting drone to 3 and quick fix to 2 something that could be done. Like I'm aware of that. It's more so just like does Konami kind of just want to like start testing the waters to start bringing the Spiral cards off the list? You know,
that's why like with my thing, like I don't want to get into a big discussion about this because of time and everything. Like with the zoo, like slowly start introducing like at least Trident back to 1 so that like the deck at least has like a board presence. Because like Bull will never come back. If we're really honest, Bull will never ever come back. But yeah, like I said, I don't really want to go too deep into that. But like, especially with Zoo, Zoo and Dragon Rulers are very touchy to talk about.
You weren't even there for Dragon Rulers.
Neither were you, so shut up.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Neither of us were there. None of us played them.
I mean, I
remember
attempted
them.
to play them on my own time.
But yeah, so that was kind of just like my thing on them. Like, I'm very much aware of the fact that like they probably won't like be put like above 1 on the next list, but it's still just one of those things where it's like
it could, depending on everything else. Yeah.
Hang on, Chaos Emperor Dragon with the errata can come back to 3. Just do it, Konami. Come on. And then
Insector.
Oh yeah, Insectors have a link.
Yes.
Actually,
they do. It sucks.
Actually, I wish Brian was here for this because he's had a lot of input on the Insectors lately.
I mean, I remember when Insectors was like one of the best decks. Like, it's not that good anymore.
They did Noble Knight stuff before Noble Knights.
Did Noble Knights, but better.
Every deck did something with Noble Knights, but better. Okay?
And now it's gonna be Marincess doing that.
Oh, Goki did what Noble Knights wanted to do.
Goki's used the equips better.
So better.
Freaking Evil Eye did the beat my big boy better.
Spirals did the make this. Oh wait.
Alright, there will be a video where I'll show my support cards that would help make the deck good. But that's it. It won't even make them like. It'll make them top in the event, but that's it. It'll make them Burning Abyss level. But that's it. And it's sad because they're all broken freaking cards. But
yeah, so like I know we're short on time, but like there was like I think like 2 other cards I wanted to put on here, but I forgot. One of them was Sherrit. I think Sherrit could come back to like at least 2.
Give me a second. I got the ban list right with me.
Yeah. So it's Sherrit, strategist, so the little dude. Wind-up carriers and mighty.
Oh yeah, wind-ups.
Yeah, those are things.
oh god, I
mean, there's still cards on the ban list that are still sitting there. Like they won't do anything in today's meta anymore.
The wind-ups are fun, but like I honestly don't think Mighty to 1 would like do anything.
No. I'm just remembering what it did, though. That was gross.
I played it during that format. I have a funny story for after this.
I bet you fucking played that.
What does Sherrit do?
No, I played that format. I didn't play windups though. I played something else.
Were you playing like what was it? Dark Worlds or Spellbooks or something like that?
Yes, no, Spellbooks weren't out yet. I played Dark World that format.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Level leader beatdown, yo.
Oh yeah, no.
We're not talking about
well, anyway, but yeah, so I think could come back to 2 and carry to 1. That was really it. Alright, Devin, go on. Time. Alright, let's start with Dang Long. I want to hear your rant about Dang Long.
Okay, I can't remember my rant about him.
We might need a new episode for this one.
Okay, so I'm gonna say like 75% of this will be biased. 25 of this might be factual.
Ready for this?
Not even. Actually, like, shit, I should have prepared myself for this, actually. Okay, so Dang Long. We all know it's a broken-ass card. Mm-hmm. It's great. It's a good card. Okay. Well, for one, I'm not gonna, this be, the big, heavy thing, but, Konami just pretty much put a different picture on it, put a different name, and just did it to an archetype that wasn't nearly as good as Zang Zing's. Although that's one of my favorite archetypes. World Chalice, all that fun jazz hands. You can't see them, whatever, I don't care.
Jizz hands.
So they pretty much just made a reincarnated variant of this card. I think if it ever did come back, though, it would have to be errated, to where it's just strictly by that archetype. Because making it generic is freaking broken. And, Dinosaur, the whole Dinosaur Dang Long combos, although I liked/hate them, they were degenerate. I cannot remember, though, were those during Master Rule 4 or not?
It was, the True King Dino deck was, the end of Master Rule 3
Yeah.
into like the beginning of Rule 4.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if it would make as big as an impact if it did come back with the whole, because like that's the fear right now. It isn't that like, oh, let's bring Dang Long back for Yang Zing, although that would be great. Um,
No.
but it's a whole fear of like, if it did come back, would it make that deck degenerate again? Or would it not? Maybe you needed more materials in order to get into those Dang Longs and the Links and whatnot. But I think the safer bet would be to make sure that it had an errata to where it was mainly um, for its main archetype, especially with these new what's the new Wyrm dragons here that focus around the normal monsters, Tenki, whatever. Like, I feel like if Danelong came back and it was still generic with those, having the free special summon Wyrm monsters, that could also play an effect. How, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure there's gonna be someone will come out with a clever way to incorporate that and make it degenerate even more so.
I don't know.
But yeah, so I think the whole point on my end is just trying to make it errated. I hate making that my case. I love the card. I love the Yang Zings. My shrine for that archetype was the Metalful Yang Zing though, so
Shout out.
that was nice. I like that a lot. But yeah, what I'm curious because the fact that you put it on your list, Amani. Now that's what kind of really sparked my interest. That's what really made me excited. Was like, oh, he put it on his list, and it's
Yeah.
not staying banned if it's on his list. So, what are you
I,
thinking?
so I personally don't like. So in regards to what you're, so like I do definitely think when Danglong was very powerful, it was like it was just fucking retarded. So that's that, and I don't
Try
use
to
that
avoid
word.
the R word, but go ahead.
No, you.
We're getting to that point in the night. But I think what it kind of just came down, like for me, what it kind of comes down to at this point is where I think the problem is just the True King Dino deck, like especially with Lithosodium still banned. I just don't think the deck itself is like consistent enough to really be a massive threat, and I don't really think Dinglong would help with that. Especially since, like you said, we do have that new World Chalice card.
Yeah,
that
well,
essentially
Miko really helps out really now.
Yeah, like the new Synchro, it like does so much for the deck. It does stuff on like the same level as
Ding Long.
like if not more, because like there's like just some funky combos you could do with like Orcust and stuff with them. That being like, I don't know, it's just this really weird dynamic where I think putting Danglong back to 1 would definitely, like, I don't even think Danglong would need to be errata at that point, because I think like that deck is just so like underwhelming right now where it is.
Yeah.
The fact that you can go like OV send Selenium, make Aolo, make Danglong, and you go like, oh cool, you got like a negate, like that's cool, but like.
But Dinos also have more of their cards back. Like Miscellaneous is back at 3, so like.
Yeah, like the
They
deck still
some
has
of
more.
their cards back up in power too.
But the thing about the Dino deck is that like I don't think like it's one of those decks where it is right now, like it's not powerful enough to like make it like worth.
No.
Say.
No, she still has some problems with her consistency.
Especially with the format
like,
too.
As long as Gholson stays banned, you can make the argument for Danglong to come back. Like I think Danglong spent its time in jail. I like back honestly.
If Strats can go back, anything can come back.
Yeah, I don't think you even need to errata it, honestly.
Yeah. You know what? I'm glad with that even being said, because I just wanted to come back. I still have 2 of them, and I'm holding on to both of them. I love it.
I wouldn't mind a Cherries target if you
Okay.
give me one.
I think we reached about everything except for the one big. Yep, that's the boy. People, you say yay, say nay. What do you say?
Maxi 3.
We're talking about Galatea, right? We're talking about Galatea, right, Amani? I
I
say
swear, Austin, I'll cut you off this Discord.
I'm in the same room as you. If you cut me off,
I'll cut you.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna go back and lay down again. Bye.
So I honestly think Max, like, I just want Maxi at 3. So like, I think Max, like, C got put to 1. I kind of, well, when they started hitting Maxi, I kind of understood like the logic where it was just one of those cards where it just gave like so much momentum to decks that like you were playing against. Momentum like to just like the player. I think that as we've gotten like more and more where like the game has just continued to shift back and forth between like combo decks and FTK decks, like pseudo FTKs. Like I think Max C is just very powerful as a deterrent to these decks. Mm-hmm. 3 Max C is like it's a safe way to be able to counter the power of like these combo decks. Like in my opinion, and it's one of those things where Max like to be put if like I think Max C should be off the list, but I don't think Max C should be put to 1. Because it's too like sacky at 1. Like with
Just play triple
like the
sack.
problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, and this kind of just gets more into like a problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! Itself, where like Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just a game where there's just like so much variance. Mm-hmm. And Max C is one of those cards that really abuses that variance because it's like if I open my one like if we're playing like an Orcus mirror match and I open my 1 of Max C and you didn't, then I'm probably going to win that game. Because either what's going to happen is you're going to give me a bunch of cards that will like either help me deal with your board or like stop you from making your board, or Neo Space Connector, activate effect. I'm going to chain Max C, use some of your Aqua Dolphin, you're just going to pass. And it's like if I can't kill you through like those 2 cards, then I don't deserve to play Yu-Gi-Oh.
And I feel like having it at 3, like it would make it fair enough for each player, but at the same time, like we still have 3 like. At the time, Call by the Grave wasn't a thing with Max C. You can stop Max C with that.
And Ash.
You have Ash that can stop it. You have the new cross out quick spell card. If you have a copy of Max C in your deck, you banish it from your deck, and your opponent can activate it. So you technically have 9 ways of stopping Max C.
So cool. Salamander is gonna have 9 ways to stop it.
I mean,
I don't really think like the argument of like it can be more easily countered is a fair one because like you can make the argument like following that logic because I can Ash Blossom it, but
well, one thing that is nice about Maxi as a hand trap compared to the other hand traps is that like for example like Rogue versus I don't want to say meta, but a deck that's a higher tier than that Rogue. One of the issues is that with a Rogue deck, you do like 1 hand trap, and if you do it right, you just stop their entire play. But with these higher decks, you can stop them once, and it's like, oh, well, I'll just keep going. I feel like with Max C, it stops your deck or questions if you should stop or not, and it's either it works against your deck or it doesn't. You know, if you're playing True Draco, well then why are you playing Max C? You know, you're probably gonna side that out or side it in. But I think that'll help out the Rogue player.
No more design.
Have a better matchup with these more competitive decks that could get hit by hand traps but can pursue further. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that was one thing that I liked about it. Like, I like Maxi as a card. It can be a very powerful card, but if it's at the right ratio, which is why you said 3 and not 1, I think it would help out these other decks, you know.
Yeah.
But that's my intake on that.
What about you, Austin? What do you think of Maxi?
Yeah.
No, I agree with both of you guys.
Okay. So, in conclusion, Konami, give me back 3 Maxi.
Yo, put it up to 4. Why don't we? Let's put them up to Magic and Pokemon standards. Come on, guys.
If I get kicked out of a game for having bad VO, I shouldn't be kicked out for having 4 cards in my deck.
Who cares if I got deodorant, man?
I mean, you play Silent Maker, you're essentially playing like 11 copies of Gazelle, so.
I did not
Yeah, so
deny
So we
or
sm-
accept that comment.
we hit Gazelle, we hit Circle, and then we just add Maxi back, and then we're all good.
Yeah. So I think we talked about.
everything.
Jesus Christ! How long was this video? Like 2.
Actually,
now?
did we really talk about?
We're at
exactly
1:35.
Hey.
Well,
So
any last comments for anyone?
I want grass back at 3.
Any good comments for anyone?
Grass back at 1?
In honor of the greatest Yugi tuber of our generation, unlock the Shock 2019.
Oh, for anyone who is watching this, I am going to throw out the option of possibly making a top 10 Yugi tubers video. Now, the way I want to focus around this, hold on a second, I'm going to focus it on multiple cases, not just top views or whatnot, but I want it to be on consistency, creativity, improvement. I'll go more and more about this, but I'm curious about you guys. If you guys have an interest about a top 10 Yugi tubers video, please comment below. And keep me posted. Honestly, I know Amani's gonna have an opinion, and I know that Austin will too.
Me
so
have an opinion? Are you crazy?
I know you almost, your opinion was putting grass back at all. This could get dangerous.
If we ban all of Thunder Dragons and then we bring back grass, it'll be okay.
Right, because Infernoids aren't a thing.
Shut up.
I'm okay with Infernoids.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Infernoid lairs, they're fun.
Alright, fine. What else can we bring back?
Okay, if he has his grass, I want my dragon rulers. That's it.
Bad deal.
Just get out.
I'm writing my letter to Konami right now.
Yo, go for the 3. Bet.
Where's my crayons?
Alright, well, thank you guys so much for doing this, for participating. Like I said, if you like this content, if you want to contribute more to what you guys want to see, please subscribe to the Dueling Den, please like our video, and please comment below, because we want to hear your voices. Maybe not as much as Austin's, just all joking aside.
I got feelings, yo.
But yeah, no, seriously, thank you all for watching, thank you for contributing, you two.
And unlock the Shock 2019.
Alright, well, this is Dueling Den signing off.
Bye.